Welcome back, guys. We are in map 3 at this point. It's tied up 1-1 here in the round of 8. It's the last match to finish its round of 8 run, as this has been a pretty weird series. We have the longest game possible, map number 1, the shortest game possible, map number 3. So logic dictates we'll have a pretty standard 18-minute ZVP on this final map. But spawning here in the bottom right corner of the map, playing for Team Liquid, it's going to be your blue Zerg player Snute.
And in the upper rightish position as the red Protoss, it's TCM's first. Hey, what does TCM stand for?
Not Team Solo Mid.
Team Center Mid, am I right?
I am shots fired. Pow, 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 pow. But okay, so that was an interesting series to play out. Like I said, we're as soon as these first go for these particular builds and like all-ins, it's weird to consider like we'll see a cheesy build sooner than like a 4-gate build. But at the same time, with Catalina being the way it is and him realizing that maybe the early game is the way to go, cheese or not, we'll see how he decides to play this one now. He's actually going for the forge. Oh, he's got a cannon rush too. He's sending out 2 probes. Yeah. So he's gonna see this though. He's gonna see one probe, but I think he'll see the other. Yeah, he sees both probes going out, so now he already knows it's going to be cannons. There's no reason to have 2 probes going out for anything else.
Yeah. Luckily, this isn't like a 2-gate that was scouted, though. Like, because it was scouted, it's not going to work. Yeah, first can go back home. Yeah, just put that on Nexus. And yeah, he didn't get the best economy start, but it's also not that big of a deal.
That overload, had it gone any other direction, oh, well, I guess the only other direction, I wouldn't have seen this coming, so this is pretty nice for Snute.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, first, you know, he scouts the correct position, sends other probe back, is going to build a Nexus with that, I suppose. First, might try and pylon block, maybe. I would love it
if he still tried to mind game Snute out a little bit, like bait out like drone pull or something like that, just go for the cancel, but looks like he's not going to muck around with that too much.
Well, of course, Snute seeing the Nexus putting down would not have been faked out for too long.
Yeah, I didn't realize the Overlord was already over there, never mind, yeah.
Yeah. So it is going to be a normal game at the very least, maybe a long game. I mean, Catalina, it's a rather big map still. I think it is bigger than Merry-Go-Round, but it is still 3 players, not like humongously big. But we've seen a couple of Swarmos games on this for sure. I think like, you know, Nimbus, Deadwing, definitely good maps. Catalina probably okay, but I guess like the way that the bases are formed, it's not the best.
Yeah. By the way, we got 2 subs I need to shout out because we're a little bit behind on this. Oh, Don't Tempt Me and Strathius, both recently subscribed to the channel, and I think that puts us really close to a t-shirt giveaway. I'm not sure quite how close, but thank you for your support, boys. We will be sending out these replays after the cast, and I still have to send out the Hearthstone vs. 4 GG ones, so check your inboxes later today. You'll have a nice compilation of StarCraft 2 replays waiting for you. But, okay, so we talked about how, okay, this started with a cannon, obviously is the goal, didn't happen, he spans off this, so first kind of has this accidentally slower opening the way you would expect, and usually when we see this, we see that +1 weapons come out first, because it's not the first time we've ever seen them go for the 4G span. +1 weapons with 3-gate attack can be some of the scarier things Zerg players have to deal with. I don't think it's as scary as a 4-gate, but it's like right up there.
There we go. Catalina's a pretty good map just for that, just because I feel like there's really good opportunities for proxy pylons, especially if you get your probe over, like first does have, over to the left side, stick a proxy pylon down there, and generally they don't really scout. They're sending all their overlords to the right so they can scout, well, pretty much that one path. That's kind of the weird thing about, you know, not even on Merry-Go-Round necessarily, but always on Catalina, when they find each other, they just ignore the other side of the maps for the most part. We do have actually Snute looking around with the Ling now, but like 10 minutes he won't be looking over there again.
I have to imagine if this does go past like the 15-minute mark, though, Snute's going to be I would imagine a little more diligent about checking bases, especially after the fact that first got away with so many ninja hidden bases on Nimbus. But going with the Stargate here, not at all surprising out of first. Now this is a map again where I think Phoenix could play really nicely into it, but because he didn't like, I mean, I imagine he didn't like playing against the playstyle that this forced out, I wouldn't be shocked to see an Oracle come out this time around. Playing a little bit of chasing the probe here in the middle of the map. Nice segment off. Saves it. Woo! Snute with 3 bases, but I think that, you know, there's some I don't know. You look at Snute, you're just like Swarmos, right? Okay, it's gonna be Phoenixes, by the way. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be the choice here in Catalina. I don't think this is as good of a map for it because there's a lot more areas you can abuse force fields on. I mean, they're still going to be good if you put it in the hands of the right player, but I think one of the strengths of Snute doesn't come from the fact that he plays Swarm Host or he plays like a dirty, bastardized style of Zerg versus Protoss. It's that he's really good with map control. I mean, that's where I think a lot of the core of his strength comes down from. Like, people look at it and they're like, oh, Swarm Host game 1, LOL. But really, it was more the Spore Crawler, the Spine Crawler, the crazy Vipers, and the Creep Spread in game 1. So, I mean, I don't know what playstyle he plans to go with, but it is one of those situations where I think that, I think he'll be comfortable if he can get to that point in the game where he's got creep spread over half the map.
This is a little bit awkward. I mean, he sees 3 gateways, and of course the 4th one is used in the wall. Is it going to be more? Is it going to be an all-in? I did not see the War Prism coming, which would have been like also very helpful to know because that War Prism is a very direct line to the dead space of Snute, and of course, without the Overlords being over there, it will always be dead space. That's what's really good about the Phoenixes. I was just wondering if he was going to go for an attack off of this. I mean, 4 gateways isn't an all-in, but it is definitely something you could pressure with, and he does have a pylon out here.
Alright, so War Prisms are kind of cool, but this is one with sentries. I mean, I've only, again, I want to get hype about this, but every time I do, it never goes down the way I want it to, so I'm not going to say a thing. But what could possibly happen here could be very scary for Snute.
Yeah, we have a follow-up of a robotics base, so maybe a follow-up Colossus attack. The sentries do get down. Oh god, the force fields will go down, the Phoenix will be able to pick off the Queen, which is pretty much Snute's only defense right now. In fact, does Snute even see this?
Oh no,
oh, god.
This is in dead space.
Oh god. Oh, and also attacking at the 3rd, so all the roaches will go over to the 3rd, and there's the Zealots in the main.
Oh god, you can't get anything here because they'll just force fit that ramp, so he's going to have to give this up. I mean, not without a fight, of course, but oh my god, the Hydras, the Roaches, the Spore Crawl, like he's got the tools, but they just can't get where they need to be. I like the repositioning of the Spores to try to at least make them useful, and the Hydra's actually being guarded by the drones really nicely, so he holds off this first wave of Zealots, but it's not like it gets easier from this point. Even the Queen lives! Okay, so this is actually really good, all things considered, out of Snute. I'm actually really impressed by this hold.
The 3rd didn't have such luck, though. I mean, all the drones had to be pulled from the 3rd. The Queen died.
Well, he's got the drones alive still, though. I mean, that's kind of the key thing.
Yeah,
so he'll finish that off with a good punch or two, but the Hydras have got to be so careful. I mean, the reason Snute's moving all these spores around, guys, is because these Phoenixes were just waiting for the chance to pick them up. Graviton beam one at a time and just slaughter the Hydra count, but he actually retains a good chunk of Hydras through this. The scary thing, though, you point out, there's a Colossus follow-up to this. There's going to be Void Rays as well. Everything that is Snute's nightmares are basically coming for round 2.
I mean, I was wondering if first was going to do like a follow-up 2-base all-in, but he is getting a 3rd. So maybe it won't be that scary. Maybe it'll be purely for defense. And I think, like, you know, both are going to be hard. Like, if he did do an all-in, not sure would have worked. If he just defends off of this, it's going to be hard, too. Snute already going up to a hive, again, very, very early.
Yeah, I think regardless of whether it's going to be Colossus or Void Rays or whatever Snute's afraid of, Vipers are going to be the answer. You know, you don't need a whole hell of a lot of Hydras, but you need enough. The problem is, though, despite his Spore Crawler coverage and these Hydras, it's still going to be very difficult to get those Vipers into a safe spot. No, there's not going to be feedbacks from Templars, but there's going to be 6 Phoenixes hunting them down. So this drone kill, by the way, can we just... I'm a little impressed here. Despite being down 17 workers, still has 70 on 3 bases. This is definitely where you want to be. But I talked before about control of the map, creep spread. There's almost none of that going on right now. 12 minutes in the game, you would really expect to see this at least halfway across the map. Not for lack of trying, but just because Snute's been shut down by the aggression that First has put on.
Yeah. But Snute's going to have a very scary army soon. First is getting Colossus Void Ray, it looks like. Really interesting he's adding in Void Rays, and I wonder if he'll stop at 2, so after this one, or if it will be part of his composition.
Well, I'm going to have a field day trying to do this one. Sub shout out to Zorfine. I'm hoping that's close to right, man. Thanks for that sub. Thanks for that support. But they're the Vipers coming out as expected. We got the level 2 weapon upgrades finishing up in just a moment too. Snute's army really isn't looking too shabby. The problem is it's really roach heavy, and that's not bad. But if he doesn't kill those Void Rays with those Hydras, those Void Rays will clean up every single roach, no matter what. Yeah.
And he is not stopping. He's going up to 4, probably going to go up to even more. So it's a very...
It's so scary, because I mean, the Hydras can actually last longer under Void Ray fire than the Spore Crawlers will. Prismatic alignment is so crazy.
It's scary because it's... I don't know, it depends a lot on like a lot of big units that are easily pulled. You know? High Templars are never going to come to this equation. He's like way too far away from them right now. So when he sees the Vipers, I mean, it's got to be scary. Everything's going to be pulled without you actually being able to take a direct engagement.
I love the dive for the sentries, but it might cost him way too many roaches to have made this worthwhile. Because again, there's Void Race in this mix. He needs every little buffer he can. The Phoenix is going to grab and beam up every single Hydrolist that they can.
This went awkward.
It really did. Snute, I think, was expecting to catch his opponent off guard, but it was first who actually got Snute a little off guard. But Snute's army supply just topples first still. 107 army supply to 61. First army supply, I think, is a little more efficient than Snute's per se, but still, it's a numbers game at the end of the day.
War Prism's gonna buy a lot of more time, maybe. I mean, it's certainly keeping back a bunch of the Hydralisks.
Yeah. It's actually kind of shocked we don't see more Static D, despite the fact that he had like 15 Spore Crawlers. They're all in the wrong spot to catch a War Prism.
Yeah.
But Blind Cloud's coming down over the cannon. Hydralisk looking to get involved with this fight. Of course, if Phoenixers are diving too deep, yeah, you have to be careful about this.
I'm still really surprised how poorly both these battles have really gone. It is a lot of because, well, these Phoenixes are helping out way more than you would really hope that they would, and the Void Rays have mostly been untouched.
Yeah, and I think what's happening right now, too, that's going to be really important. It's like, well, they're both kind of on 3 bases. I just feel like the way Zerg works, especially with like remaxing the larva mechanic, it's just going to pay better for Snute as he trades out here, but it's going to take some really good trades. He is down behind the resources lost pretty hard. There's still those Phoenixes he's got to deal with, but those Abducts who break the force fields, they do break the force fields. He pokes the Colossus, immediately 3 of them go down, but there's not going to be enough for the Void Rays, and that's what's so scary about this. He has to abduct this. Well, actually, I take this back. Yeah, the reinforcements should be able to push it. That was 10 more Hydras joining the front lines.
They were all, stuck behind catching Warp Prism, stuck on the mineral lines, and suddenly his army looked a lot scarier.
Not looking good for first. Another beautiful abduct goes off, and I think Snute, with that Blinding Cloud especially, is about to lock this game down. First just doesn't have the reinforcement potential that Snute does. 39 army supply versus 102. There's still Vipers in play. Actually, you might give away a lot of Hydras here. Help force that a little bit, but still, I think, again, there's a lot of this comes down to that remax potential. You just can't warp in Colossus. You can't warp in Void Race the same way you can Stalker and a Zealot. So the remax is just a little too slow.
Yeah, it was a very, it was a scary unit composition, but it was small still, technically, and it does take a long time. You're not warping in with your 12 gateways, you're building with your Robo and your Stargate, so actually just seems to give up completely on idea of Void Rays, tries to go up to High Templars, maybe looking to go up to Storm. Certainly needs the feedbacks as well.
I don't know what it is, and I'm going to bring this up because I know he's lurking in chat today. But there is still no other player I've seen in StarCraft 2 that I can admire their Warp Prism usage the same way Todd does. And first Warp Prisms this game, they've been doing okay damage, but I gotta be honest, I really don't think this has done much. Outside that initial attack. Either way, GG is finally called. Snute will take the game. He will move on to the semifinals where he will fight his teammate Mana in another best